You're listening to For Wales, See Wales. And if you want to know what's going on in Welsh politics at the moment, you're in exactly the right place. But for the time being, just give us a minute to hear from our sponsors.
I want to talk to you guys about our sponsor, Hello Starling.
Hello.
Hello.
Starling.
So we've talked about them before. They are not like a PR company. They essentially plan campaigns to help businesses, brands, organisations get eyes on their products. Now, I want to give you some examples. And some of these are actually really cool. So they worked with Cardiff City Football Club. And it was a campaign.
Love them.
Season ticket holder.
You are a season ticket
Because of Hello Starling.
So this campaign was about creating transactions for season tickets and producing like a return on investment. They worked with the club, and there was a 34% increase in ticket sales
That's mad.
on the back of that campaign.
This is also a season where we got relegated last season, so we're in a tier in a league worse off than we were last year. And yeah, season ticket numbers did go completely up. The atmosphere in the stadium, by the way, is absolutely incredible. There, obviously, different style of football we're playing, but like more bums on seats. It feels like
And newer people coming in.
Totally, and it feels like a completely different place to where it was last year.
Other people they worked with Cardiff Council to
Love those guys.
Love them.
They collect my bins.
so this campaign was about helping get new foster carers, and there was 600 new inquiries for foster caring.
That is incredible.
Which is
Those
actually
statistics speak for themselves, really, don't they?
Yeah, fair play.
Going to keep it on a South Walesy themed. Okay, so
Take that, Wrexham.
so South Wales Fire and Rescue Service. They worked with them to help find new candidates.
Love those
Them, I
guys.
do. They wash my car sometimes.
Yeah.
They do. That's not
They worked with South Wales Fire and Rescue Service to try and find new candidates for full-time firefighters, and they had over 1,600 applications delivered off the back of it.
Wow.
So
From a naughty Norman Price. That is.
So it doesn't have to be kind of that pure kind of advertising, like, oh, buy this product. It can be about getting your message out there. And that's something they're really, really good, and they specialise in that.
The job market's so weird at the moment. Like, I've got lots of friends who are sort of constantly applying for jobs, and it can be like really, really bleak. And the idea that I heard this thing of like recruiters advertising ghost positions. They don't exist.
Awful.
Just sort of dreadful. So, you know, in terms of a recruitment point of view, if you're trying to sort of cast the net really wide and trying to find someone brilliant, sounds like a good place to go.
So you need to go to hellostarling.com. That's hellostarling.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of For Wales, See Wales with me, Rhun Ap Morgan.
Mel Owen.
Me, Will Hayward.
Welcome back. How are we all?
Yes, really well, thank you.
Very pleased.
Yeah, last time we spoke, we were in our respective homes, emergency pod. Meow, meow.
That was for you.
That was the emergency pod alarm, I
Yeah.
think.
And weirdly, we both Mel does the alarm, we hear it somehow, and we run to our.
I didn't realise that's how she did the alarm. I thought she put like a kind of huge shell to her lips and just blew it.
Oh,
Or
sure.
like a Moana kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
doo-doo.
Oh, I was thinking Anchorman.
That really shows how different we are as people.
If you did
Yeah.
shine a light into like the clouds, like Batman, what would be the symbol if we had to?
Ooh.
Rearing horse.
Just one horn.
And you two would know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you would run to your laptop.
I think so.
I mean, there was a bit of breaking news over the weekend. We knew we were going to see each other today, so we didn't do woo.
Yeah.
But we thought, let's keep it for the pod.
I mean, and it's kind of linked to one of your predictions from our predictions episode, which you can go back and listen to.
Already?
Will with his little crystal ball.
It's not even end of January, and one of his predictions has come true.
Yeah, for 2026, what was your prediction?
I don't know. It hasn't really come true yet. It was that Andy Burnham would challenge Keir Starmer, take over, and then have a bromance with the Renicorn.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's look at the first part of that.
He hasn't. I mean, he made his move, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's made his move.
Not on Reen. Oh,
69 December.
oh, Willie.
Right. Shall we talk about it?
Absolutely.
So, over the weekend, Andy Burnham made his move to become an MP, which was definitely nothing to do with the fact he wanted to be an MP in order to challenge Keir Starmer. It was to keep reform out of one constituency in Greater Manchester. That's what it was about.
Yeah.
Registered his intent to run, and it was blocked by the NEC. So the Welsh Labour's kind of central committee. Welsh Labour. God, you can see I'm refocused.
If it's not Wales, he does not care.
Literally.
No.
Another little country.
I'm like the inverse of every other journalist in London. It was blocked by members of Labour's essentially kind of council, and they said, no, you are not going to be able to stand because he was a mayor.
Is that why he had to do it? Because he's an elected mayor? If he was just
Yeah.
like some Tom, Dick or Harry Burnham, then he could have just like...
Yeah, Tom, Dick and Harry Burnham could all have got in, but Andy, no. Obviously, this has been widely read as Starmer trying to stop a potential challenger. That's how it's been seen, hasn't it? And it's interesting because I think somehow this makes Starmer look even weaker.
Yeah,
It was an impossible thing for him to deal with, right? Like if he votes it through and he's like, no, come on in, I'm completely fine with it. I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Then he's just opens the doors to his own demise, isn't he?
Yeah. You guys use this language a lot, and I think I'm using it correctly. Would that be cucky?
To be clear, we don't use it a lot.
Will uses it a lot.
You don't, you do.
I don't. What does it mean? I have no idea.
Would it be? Am I using that correctly?
I suppose he would be trying to cuck himself.
Yeah, it would
I think
be if
would
he was
be.
like, "Please do come in my house." And
yeah, and take my party.
Yeah,
in front of me.
Yeah.
I think yeah. Well done. God, such a bro pod.
I mean, if we're gonna actually use this analogy, I think the problem with this. Oh, why am I doing this?
No.
I think the problem with doing this is I think it's just left the door open for, I'd imagine, like Wes Streeting.
Yeah,
Do
because
it?
there's got to be others, right?
Yeah, because if you were Wes Streeting, say you had Wes Streeting and Andy Burnham both in Parliament, there's two people who could feasibly like challenge Starmer, and actually that might make them more hesitant to do it because they don't want to risk losing to the other person.
Right.
So, like when you've got two people cucking you,
Yeah. You don't have to tell me, Will. Come on now. Preaching to the choir here, buddy.
my auntie in her 80s listens to this podcast.
Yeah.
But I also think from Labour's point of view, I mean, Wes Streeting I don't think he's going to ever move the needle in terms of increasing Labour's popularity. Burnham at the moment is like comfortably the Labour politician who actually polls all right.
I guess he's not linked to the government though. I think he seems like slightly removed from the what Starmer's government has done, and I think he's always seen as someone who stands up for his residents outside of London.
It seems quite popular in Manchester. If that's I'm not in there, I don't know,
Sure.
but it feels like from the outside he's quite popular.
I wonder how you'd feel as a Manchester resident to be like, oh, you don't really give a shit about being mayor. Like I know he's obviously like,
Well, exactly, and I think that was part of his consideration, isn't it? Because he's basically said, I'd rather do something else than this.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to go back to work.
The other challenge for Labour, though, is they're probably going to now lose that by-election.
Yeah, because I saw, is Polanski going to run? Is Yusuf going to run? I saw some sort of like rumblings of turning this into an incredibly populist
This is going to be the
thing.
English Caerphilly by-election.
Right. They're so Wales focused. I love it.
But do you know what I mean? All the focus is going to be on this one seat that probably hasn't had that much attention before, much like Caerphilly.
What is the English Caerphilly? Cheddar.
Cheddar Gorge.
Yeah.
Cheddar Gorge.
Imagine if there was an actual MP for Cheddar Gorge.
What's this one? Gorton. It's like, come on. English constituency names are mad.
Oh, yeah.
I live in the small town of Stilton.
Yeah, crazy.
Obviously, we're recording this a couple of days out, so it might be this has kind of changed. But what I do think is interesting, though, is I think it's probably a political mistake for Keir Starmer to block this because I think it makes him look quite weak. And ultimately, if you're talking about putting your country before essentially yourself, saying, I don't want someone else to be in there because they'll challenge me. And if the only reason that you are still the leader of your party is that you haven't let the person people would prefer in the House, I think that is potentially true. What it does mean, though, is there will be an election for Greater Manchester Mayor if Burnham had got it. And actually, that is really expensive, like a mayoral.
Well, that's what
election.
Starmer was saying, right? It's a very expensive mayoral election, and also it would distract the head of May's elections. And I think he even mentioned unfair to Eluned Morgan, unfair to the Scottish Labour leader.
It's wild that he cares all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's really funny that this is what pushed him to give a shit.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear something that Eluned Morgan said about Keir Starmer last week?
Oh, go on.
So she's clearly trying to distance herself from the PM because she said that Keir Starmer was only welcome to campaign in Wales if he bought goodies like investment in proper projects.
All right.
I thought like to this podcast, I'm like, do bring stuff.
Yeah.
Like some Percy Pigs. She did actually also talk about a new deal on devolution. So she said, this was in a speech in London. She said, a new deal on devolution should be formalised with a new constitutional reform act to legally embed devolution with a statutory framework, all the buzzwords, that strengthens and protects devolution by clearly defining responsibilities in law. Within this act, there must be a move to abolish the House of Lords in its current form and develop in its place an elected council / Senate of the nations and regions of the UK. This has been a constant position I've held. Yes, even as a member of the House of Lords. Did you know she's a member of House of Lords?
I did. It's Baroness.
Baroness Morgan of Ely.
Yeah, it's strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like sort of murder mystery party. I'm Baroness Morgan of Ely. That's me. Right.
I do declare there's been a murder.
Oh, and I'm not the murderer.
It's strong from her, but like too little too late. I don't believe her.
Don't believe you, Baroness.
Don't buy, because it's too late. You had your chance, and I understand, like, you know, two same party, both sides of the M4. We hate that phrase, I know, but okay, they had to cooperate. But she's had time to stand up to Keir Starmer. You got 4 months left to fight, and this is when you choose to do it.
Is it going to sort of turn up and up and up then? Are we going to hear more of these kind of statements as she tries to distance herself more and more with more inflammatory language to the point where she's like, he's a prick. She don't like the bloke.
Yeah, she just dials it up every single time.
Every time.
I think the problem with what she's saying is it's not different to what she said before. She's just saying it with a tiny bit more feeling. Like she hasn't actually changed her demands.
Yeah.
And she hasn't really
Specified.
She hasn't really rocked the boat. She just said, you can't come door knocking unless you give me HS2 money, which I'm sure he's going to be like, all right.
Fine, I just won't come door knocking then.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, I don't have to come to Wales.
Yeah. So we are going to be interviewing Eluned Morgan in the next pod after you've listened to this. Our next pod coming out. So we will obviously be putting these questions to her. Do we want to tell her we're doing that? Solid. She doesn't listen.
That we know of. So, many people do. Let's not forget that.
So I think what we can say that Eluned Morgan has changed in terms of her stance is around independence. So obviously she's not more against independence.
Oh, okay.
She's been, she's a real curveball.
Exclusive.
She's very, very, very much going hard on independence as an attack line on Plaid Cymru. She was on Sunday Morning with Trevor Phillips on Sky.
Go on, Trev.
And you enjoying this, Mel?
Yeah. Go on, Trev. That was my impression of Will Hayward and Robin Morgan.
It's really good. It's getting really good.
Thank you.
I can't get that.
Cucky.
She said, I think there is a real possibility of that, talking about the potential for the breakup of the United Kingdom. I think it's time people woke up to that possibility. The elections in May could have a profound implications, not just on the people of Wales and their public services, but also for the situation in the whole of the UK. The danger is real.
Oh, the danger.
grief.
That's a big line. That's a big line, because also that light a match under those people who think, oh yeah, I don't really want it actually, but you know, Plaid can't really do it.
Yeah.
Boom, she's going, they will.
Yeah, and that, you know, it's the majority of people aren't in favour of independence in
Yeah.
Wales. So I think, you know, if that's your line, right, to sort of
I mean, if our comments on this pod are anything to go by, everybody wants Welsh independence.
sure.
Yeah, but that's YouTube, right?
Yeah, well, that's
know?
and that's people who watch a Welsh-specific politics podcast.
Exactly.
And we love you.
Yeah,
well,
thank you for listening. and
don't
watching.
stop.
Yeah, yeah.
Get more accounts.
Listen twice. Don't vote twice, though. That's wrong.
I'm fine with that.
Yep. But no, at the end of the day, the figures are that most people don't want independence at the moment. And some people are vehemently against it, you know?
Don't you think it's kind of interesting that most people in Wales don't want Welsh independence, but they are still, based on the polls, there are a lot of people who don't want Welsh independence who are still willing to vote for Plaid Cymru.
Yeah.
And doesn't that kind of say how much people must hate the status quo, that they are not in favour of Welsh independence, but they're willing to risk a pro-independence party leading Wales, such is their dissatisfaction with the other parties?
Also, could that suggest that people don't think Plaid has the ability to deliver such constitutional change?
That's interesting. I wonder if like the SNP hadn't tried to do it and like how that, you know, if the SNP had never gone for another Indie Ref 2 and there was still this like complete possibility of this, you know, of it happening, maybe people would be less inclined to go for Plaid. But it's like, oh, you know, it's very hard to do. It probably won't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody this week who was like, you know, they were saying to me, they were like, oh, you know, I'll probably vote Plaid, but I'm nervous that they don't really know what they're doing. Like, you know, and I think like that's a fair enough point. Like she was basically saying, I'm nervous. They've never had to form a government. I don't know if they've got the infrastructure to do it. They're just the less bad option at the moment, which I do wonder if that is how a lot of people feel.
I don't think really anybody who's voting Plaid in May believes that even if they win a majority at the end of 4 years, there'll be an independent Wales.
No.
I just don't think that's credible. I mean, if the SNP, who've got a much bigger electoral mandate going back over a decade than Plaid, can't get that over the line. I don't think that Plaid Cymru are going to suddenly create this like independent Wales. Obviously, having a successful nationalist government in the Senedd, it's not going to hurt the case for Welsh independence, is it? So long term, it might move the needle, but I don't think there's an imminent threat of Welsh independence.
No.
Well, it seems like, when we looked at the polls from last week and, that statement of why people are shifting to Plaid in it being that they stand up for Wales, that was number one, right? So and as much as we say the majority of people don't want independence, it'd be interesting to work out, and this is so hard to sort of quantify, the percentage of people who want more devolution, who want more kind of strength within Wales. And you can't ever quantify that because then that becomes this Brexit thing, which is like, what is Brexit? Because you need to be so specific with what we get from that. But I would probably argue more, and this is based on no fact, that like more people want extra devolutionary powers, I think, and more powers made here, like a more sort of like what's the phrase,
Devo Max,
sort of kind of
home rule.
Do
you think that most people would want more powers? Because I think there's definitely a large group of people in Wales, I imagine, who would fall into especially Reform voters, who would be like, God, no, we don't want to give any more powers to the Senedd.
But I think they're polling less than Plaid Labour Greens.
I think people have a real disconnect between, if you were to say to the average person, do you want Wales to be more self-confident and be able to look after itself and be able to make decisions in here rather than in London? I think they'd say yes. I think if they said, do you want to give the Senedd politicians and MSs more powers, they'd go, oh no.
Sure.
So it's almost like
that disparity is really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. It's that love of Wales but distrust of government.
Yeah. Do you want us to have more powers but with the safety net of Westminster? Yeah, probably actually.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Just in case,
I mean, personally, I really do believe that whether you're pro-independence or not, it's in the interest of every government who is in the Senedd to make Wales at a point where it could be independent. Because ultimately, one of the main reasons why people don't want Welsh independence is because they don't think Wales can afford it. They think Wales is too poor. Well, we don't want Wales to be poor. So getting Wales to a point where it could be independent, I think, is a self-evident good. I think if you got to that point where actually there'd be an argument for Wales becoming independent because it could stand on its own 2 feet, I think what you'd then be in a situation is where the United Kingdom as a concept has to justify itself to people. I think one of the real brittle things about the United Kingdom at the moment is that lots of people in Wales say, I like the idea of Welsh independence, but we couldn't afford it. Well, if the only it's like being in a marriage where you don't really like your partner, but they earn quite a bit. Yeah. And actually, that isn't a healthy relationship. What you want to do is have all the partners in this polyamorous relationship, apparently. The United Kingdom's polyamorous relationship in this scenario. What you really want is all of those people to be thriving and doing well, but still be better together because this union works for everyone. Whereas at the moment, you have this situation where people are like, well, we can't afford not to be part of the union. It's like, well, wouldn't it be really nice if we could afford not to be, but chose to be because it worked? That would be, and I think any politician who argues, actually, no, I want Wales to need to be in it for financial reasons is kind of just wanting...
Yeah, it's manipulative, right?
It's basically just trying to keep Wales...
giving colonialism.
Well, it's basically like saying, I want you to stay sick, but not die, but not get well.
Yeah. Sure. So you're sick enough that you need me, but never well. No, I love that analogy. Is that you could choose to stay, not have to stay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that kind of segues us nicely because last week, actually, when you listened to this, 2 weeks ago, I interviewed the Plaid Cymru leader, Rhun Ap Iorweth, for Unicorn, and I asked him about this and other topics. So I think it's actually worth digging into that. So should we have a talk about that?
Yeah.
So Rhun Ap Iorweth, leader of Plaid Cymru, I think for quite a long time they've been able to, I'm not going to say get away with, but they haven't had the level of scrutiny that Labour have had, mainly because they haven't been seen as a credible alternative. And when you're not seen as being able to get into government, people don't question you to the same level because it's like, well, what's the point? You can just say anything because you're never going to have to follow through on this. Well, now they're at a point where they very much might have to follow through on what they're doing. So I asked him a series of questions on lots of different issues, and I wanted to be really specific because I think you can talk broad brush, but actually accountability and holding people to account is not just saying to them, why have you done this? This is awful. It's saying, right, what will you do about that? Give me a figure. What will this look like in 5 years? And it's getting them on the record accountable to things. So I asked him firstly about the Bryn Glass tunnels. So these are the tunnels near Newport, which massively clog up that part of the M4. Huge issues around pollution, all sorts of stuff. Now, I know that some people are going to be going, why? This is a really specific issue. Why are you talking about this? What I would say is 40% of people in Wales live within 20 miles of those tunnels.
Really?
40%.
That's a wild statistic.
I know. It is.
Wow.
It is. And so when
And then
people...
also, so Bryn Glass tunnels are one of those things. If I talk to people outside of Wales, they're like, "Oh God, well, you know those Bryn Glass tunnels."
Oh, really?
Yeah. People, like friends, family, colleagues outside, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, God, the Bryn Glass tunnel." Whenever I'd have to travel to Wales,
Love that.
or if I'm saying I'm going back, they're like, "Oh, be careful of the Bryn Glass tunnels."
Shirley Bassey, Gareth Bale,
Bryn Glass tunnels.
Is it the same as like the massive roundabout in Swindon?
Yeah.
Spaghetti Junction in Birmingham?
Yeah. This is our thing.
So I said to him, that traffic and pollution has a huge impact on the productivity of Wales and the health of the people in the area. If we had 4 years of a Plaid Cymru government, what will have changed? And he said, part of the change will be by recognising that this is an issue that needs addressing, and I don't believe it's been addressed entirely just by having those extra railway stations that might make more people choose rail to get in and out of Cardiff. I think that's all a positive thing, but I think there are unanswered questions. I don't have the answer to it, but there is a commitment that we understand that things as they are can't remain the same. It's something that we want to invest time in as a Welsh government. Decisions have been taken in recent years to take resources away from the potential answers. I've got the same in my neck of the woods with the Britannia crossing, which still needs to happen. There's a problem there with resilience on and off the island that I represent and all the issues of economic development that are dependent on that. I want to look again at how we can put solutions in place to actually deal with the problem. So what you might notice there is there's no actual plan.
Yeah.
If you'd have told me Eluned Morgan had said that, I wouldn't have been surprised.
No.
Apart from the North Walian
Yeah.
references, like, you don't live there, Eluned. You've gone mad.
So I said to him, I appreciate these things take time, but the people here have been living with this for decades. Do you think 4 years of Plaid Cymru government will make it better? He said, I hope so.
Oh.
I'm an environmentalist. I believe that if we can take people out of cars and onto public transport to move around in a greener way, we should do it. But I recognise that in a country like Wales, especially where you have lots of rurality, that roads still remain an important part of a connectivity. It's about getting the balance right. And I don't think it's quite right now. So ultimately, they don't really have a plan.
Sure.
Nothing tangible.
And I guess it's a very specific thing that it has been, all of the M4 Relief Road type stuff, it's all been kicked down the road for years and years and years and years and years. I mean, what is, I suppose...
It's a very hard problem to fix.
Sure, and a good question. What is a good answer to that?
But I would say they've had time to think about this. Do you know what I mean? They haven't been they haven't been in government. They've had time to sit back and think, how would we literally do this? And, we drag reform for not having a plan. They also don't. And I know there is a huge difference between, what reform incites and what Plaid Cymru incites. Morally, very, very different. But at the same time, if we're going to hold reform going, you don't have any plans, Plaid Cymru are not showing what their plans are either. And we have to hold them to account about that as well.
Exactly. And I think that's... So I asked on some other things as well. So I said, let's talk about the NHS and the 2-year wait. After 4 years of a Plaid Cymru government, will the 2-year wait be down to pre-pandemic levels? And he said, I am convinced that we have plans in place that will bring them down significantly. I'm not going to give you a number, but I think people understand what good performance is. There will be a time when we absolutely do set numbers, of course. So I said, so there will still be people who have waited more than 2 years. And he said, I would hope not, and I'm confident in the plans that we have put in place. The real programme of how we're to deliver the kind of diagnostic networks around Wales. He then went on to talk about that you have to look at health in its entirety and that they really want to bring down waiting times in cancer services and that they've got plans. But more importantly for me, it's about transforming the NHS and healthcare landscape in Wales. So yes, we want to do that, but we want it to be bigger than that as well. Ultimately, I just don't know what the plan is still, except for we're going to be running it and not Labour.
Yeah, I don't know more than I did before you started reading me that.
So they have talked a lot about Mel Ap Iorweth, who's their health... I suppose now that they're technically one of the official oppositions, I suppose he becomes shadow health minister, but he's their spokesperson on health. Yeah. And they have put forward some plans around the Welsh NHS. All of it, I would still say, is quite tinkery. It's not like seismic changes. But I'm not funny. Drakeford was on this pod a year ago where he said, we put too much money into secondary care and we need to put more into primary care. Making that change is really, really hard. And I don't see a plan from Plaid at the moment where I think, oh yeah,
Day one, this is going to happen. Yeah.
yeah, and a part of it's like, well, they're winning. Why would they put more meat on the bones? They
don't need to at the moment. But also, how well did that go for Labour?
Exactly.
In Westminster?
Exactly.
How well did that go?
Keir Starmer came in on the basis of, I will make change, but I'm not going to tell you how to do it. And then when he came in and tried to do anything, people were like, well, we didn't vote for this.
Yeah.
It's because you haven't said anything.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm going to make no friends by saying this, but I do feel like, don't get me wrong, I know Labour have turned back on some of the promises they did make, but I do think a lot of voters assumed certain things of Labour and assumed they wouldn't do this and assumed they would. Labour never said they would or wouldn't.
People put what they wanted.
Yeah,
It's
they
like
projected what they wanted.
Schrodinger's like manifesto.
Yeah, and then kicked off when Labour didn't do exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
And not far be it for me to stick up for Keir Starmer, but did you project your own hopes and dreams onto Keir, or did he actually say those
Yeah,
things?
you can't be all things to all people, can you?
No, and I wonder if Plaid are going to run into this slightly.
It was a similar answer when I asked him about education. So I asked him that if someone was to be having a child now around the time that they get elected, by the time that they were going to school, those kids were going to school, you'd have had the first term of Plaid. And I said, what differences would we see? The first thing he said, that they would have begun to benefit from the childcare offer that Plaid Cymru are offering, which, to be fair, is...
I mean, big policy. Like they trailed that months ago, right?
Yeah, at their conference in Swansea. But he then said, I will charge my Minister for Education in the Plaid Cymru government to make sure that we strip it back to the fundamentals on numeracy and literacy, looking at how the new curriculum actually supports those aims. This will be a priority. It will be a change of emphasis. There's some investment, but it's not all about investment. Education isn't quite like health in terms of the sheer scale. And he said, it deeply, deeply worries me, and I don't think there's been a focus on education. Okay. Yes, you can definitely make the argument that Wales has the challenge with the new curriculum is essentially had a more holistic approach to early years education, especially like the foundation phase, and it was more child-led. That's good in some ways, but it's also more resource intensive on teachers, but they didn't increase the amount of resource. So they basically changed the curriculum so that it would work really well if you were going to put more money into it. But actually, if you look at the figures on education in Wales, we know that Wales gets more than England based on how much you spend in England. So the amount that's spent on education in England, Wales gets a little bit more than that, but that's because we've got higher levels of need. But per pupil in Wales, we spend pretty much the same as in England. So what that does mean is that the Welsh Government currently and previous Welsh governments have siphoned off some of the money that they would have got from education spending in England and put it into other areas. Now, you can make an argument that's a good thing, it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we spend, I think, a disproportionately low amount based on our level of need in Wales and education compared to England. And if he's not going to put more money into it, but he's going to keep that same curriculum, because also, please don't just change the curriculum again.
That's insane to do that.
Yeah. And he's not saying that he would. There's nothing here where I think, right, I know what they're going to do here. I know what they're looking to do. I know what the plan is.
No. Well, and also, how is that meant to give voters much excitement going into this? You know, it's a sad state of affairs if people are going, who's the least bad option? You know, and I think people need to feel like, right, I feel like we're going to be in a safe pair of hands, not the least dangerous pair of hands.
Well, I think when the discourse becomes, you know, and as we get closer to May, it's going to start getting spicier, for lack of a more bleak phrase. So detail gets lost in that. If other people are making headlines with very divisive statements and these very, very big overarching calls, I suppose that their policy, their plan will be hit that with hope rather than fear, as opposed to, so you can't go, oh, you're worried about, you know, immigration. Well, let me tell you this 3-point plan about education, because it's not going to cut through in the same way.
Don't get me wrong. We're going to go to town on reform and the Tories next week. I've got some great stuff. It's not just Plaid. I'll tell you one response he did, which I think was really good. So I asked him about North Wales. And I said, do you think that North Wales gets a fair deal at the moment, a fair amount of funding and a fair amount of recognition? And if not, how do you alleviate it? He said, I'll give you as honest answer as I can. I live in the North. I'm born in the South. I have a feeling for both ends of the country. I'm often told it all goes down south and we get nothing up here. And politically at home, it would be very easy for me to say, yeah, you're absolutely right. But I don't think it's as simple as that. Economically, actually, I think the split in Wales is more east and west, where you have more economic activity in the northeast and the southeast of Wales, whereas the west is where we need to see a balancing of the economy. I do think there's a lack of understanding of the north in the Welsh government and a recognition that the government has to prove its actions to all of Wales. I think that's absolutely right. I don't think there should be a minister for North Wales because I think every minister in a Plaid Cymru government should be a minister for North Wales and West Wales and South Wales. We're one Wales and that's something that's really important to me. I think having a First Minister from North Wales who understands the South pretty well too could be transformative. What I did like about that answer was it would have been really easy for him, especially trying to win seats in North Wales, to go, yeah, I think North Wales is a bit screwed over.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And I think that was a level of statesmanship I thought was impressive.
Yeah, it's a nuanced answer, wasn't it? This shows my lack of knowledge, and I'm happy for that. I think you can't know everything. Are there any First Ministers previously who have been based in North Wales whilst in the role?
So Vaughan Gethin was Penarth, and
Yeah.
I probably didn't even have time to leave Cardiff in the time he was in the role.
I was going to the tip, wasn't he?
That was lovely.
Well done.
So good.
Appreciate
Carwyn Jones is South Wales, and Rhun Ap Morgan is definitely South Wales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drakeford, obviously, South Wales.
Yeah. Markety.
So
And from South West Wales.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Rhun would be the first minister potentially
To be
based in North Wales. I think that's big,
That is, yeah.
right? When we talk about sort of on a UK level, sort of Angela Rayner, Andy Burnham potentially sort of like taking over and sort of representing the UK, and like people talk about their background and their location as positives for uniting
Yeah.
the UK, don't they? Be interesting, wouldn't it?
People can check out that interview if they want to. It's on the Will Hayward newsletter. We're kind of getting into it feels more election-y now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really is close because I mean, when will this go out? This will go out a couple of days, end of Jan, right?
End of Jan.
Yeah.
So you got February, March, April, and then the first
April's
week of
going to
May.
be like intense, isn't it?
Yeah. I reckon we've got 2 months before the wheels fall off and everyone goes mad and it's just election fever and I cannot wait.
Yeah. Big week for us. Next week we're gonna release the Eluned Morgan interview,
Indeed.
which will be fun.
We're really excited to do it.
Yeah.
Our biggest interview, really, yes.
Yeah, sitting
it?
First Minister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, huge.
And I think what's going to be nice as well is you have the scrutiny, but also I think all of our previous interviews, what's been good is people have left feeling like they know the person as
Yeah.
well. And I think that's a really important element to what's great about podcasts.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
and we find out how they deal with snacks, which I think is important.
We do need to think about what we're going to take her as a gift.
Absolutely, we do, yes. We'll have a little chat about it on the pod.
Yeah,
for listeners.
I think so.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting.
Very exciting. This is how we get into the nitty-gritty of politics.
You know what?
Yeah.
In the comments or in the DMs, drop us your predictions of what snack we're going to give Eluned Morgan.
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's know what you
Because by
think.
the time the comments come out, we'll have done it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we won't be nicking your ideas. It'll be
Yeah.
interesting if you know our brains better than we do.
Absolutely. Well, next time I see you guys, we'll be with the First Minister.
Very exciting.
See you guys then.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.